all singers. You're fabulous singers, right? And you're dancers. And I do want to connect the dance work and the voice work. And sometimes those things don't seem to connect, do they? Okay, so here we go.
And sort of indirect and just, it didn't really matter, but the energy was just going in and out of me really quickly, really freely. And then in the second part of the exercise, it was like really indirect, really disconnected. It was almost as if, like, it was placid. It was almost as if there wasn't any energy in the room, sort of, or it was individual. It wasn't really traveling between people.
Yeah. So much happens just by changing the physicality. We did some big extreme changes, but even a slight change can make a difference in your presence, or how you perceive, or how you feel about others around you in relationships. Just so that you'll know. How many of you have done yoga? Some yoga? Okay, good. I'm going to take you into some of the Fitzmaurice work because I know that your backgrounds will allow me to take you further than I would normally take a group of beginning acting students. So I'd like you to do a cobra. Some of you know it, but I'm going to ask you to do it in a particular way. It's an arch, and in the arches we're open like so, and we can get very low sounds, but not to push. They just happen to open that way. And I'm going to have you do it in a particular way. It's probably different from what you've done in a yoga class. And so, everybody on your belly. And I'd like you to put your elbows on the floor. Yeah. So we're not going to do that. Okay, we're going to do this. And let your buttocks relax. You can kind of go back and forth so that you know that it's not, you're not holding. And we're going to ask you just for now to put your hands as if you're in a karate chop. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to peel your forehead off the floor, and when you need to get up further, engage under the shoulder blades and come up. That's beautiful. Ha, ha. So your shoulders are not up. There. Yep. So I'll show you the first part of the sequence, which is really simple, and then we'll get more complicated. So this is the way the first part goes, and it uses that principle of rounding and opening. I'll just sort of do it out in here, and then you'll find your own space, and I'll take you through it. I'll go a little bit fast. The first part is called Scrunch and Stretch, and it goes, and then, very similar to what you did standing. And then we shake out, and then you put your big toes together and your heels apart, and your arms down like so, and do it once. You might think your strings, just pulling to release you there, and then rounding or rolling your shoulders to release there. You can do it separately, you can do it together, but the point is the release. And if you overarch your back when you do that, then pull down a little bit, but you want to maintain a neutral pelvis so that you can get your hands there. And then I'll ask you to drop your jaw. If anybody's head falls back like that, then put something under it, because it makes a big difference in the voice if your head is falling back like that. Once we've done that, and get into this next part any way that you want to, depends on the training you've had, but where we're going is your knees are going to one side, your shoulders are going to stay on the floor, and you're going to look the opposite direction. And just notice, what's going on in here. This
This side is kind of scrunched, and this is very open. And we'll do that. Let any sounds drop out that want to. You might think of sounds coming out of your hip socket. Get some space in the back of your throat. Yeah. If there's singing sounds in there, anyway. It's rather than actually wiggling, you press and then a little bit. It's going to be, don't actually shake it. It's more like why do you suppose we're doing this? Yes, it does relax. Any other thoughts about why we would do this?
It like frees up your voice.
Yeah, it does. Yes.
It gets rid of a lot of inhibitions.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Right. Yes. All of this particular work that Catherine Fitzmaurice developed is about breathing. It's about freeing the breath. But I also think that it's very important for, as you're saying, letting the voice free up and finding resonance and getting rid of some inhibitions. It does a lot of
speak to why it just seems counterintuitive that like being over like this or like on your back you can be so much freer, and I felt that I've always struggled like getting up really high, but it was just seemed so easy. Can you speak to why that is?
There's more than one reason. For one thing, you're concentrating on something other than your voice. I mean, you're using your voice, but you're doing some other things. So you're distracted, and some of the things that perhaps keep you from doing normally are out of the way. Another thing is your vocal tract is shorter. When you're rounded, you've actually shortened the vocal tract, and that makes it easier for us to get those sounds. You're not likely to get a huge sound, but you'll find those lighter sounds. And although you guys have explored a wide range, I'm sure all of you, many times people who are on an acting track have never felt those really high sounds. So it's a way of getting to them. But a couple of things there. You're actually putting your body in a position to access the higher sounds more easily, and you've distracted it from all of the things that would be in your way if you were standing up having to sing a high note. Any thoughts about how you laugh, except that you don't think about it? You hear something funny or you're struck by something and you laugh. What goes on physically when you laugh? Yes?
You're exhaling breath.
Yep. Anything else?
I know there's a lot of endorphins released.
Okay, good stuff. It's very good for us, yeah. Yes?
You usually smile.
Yes, you do. Yes, you don't usually frown. That's right, and that's one of the major features of health. Yes. Okay. This woman I've mentioned before, I'm taking a lot from her technique with you guys because I think it seems appropriate. She really looked at what were the physical necessary things to happen to trigger a laugh or a cry. And laughing and crying, when we see it in ultrasound, looks very similar. It's very chaotic. This whole area is going like crazy. Have you ever laughed so hard you hurt?
Yeah.
So this area is very much involved. And when you're laughing, laughing and crying is like the masks of comedy and tragedy. When you're laughing, usually this is up, and when you're crying, and hysteria is going back and forth. So we're going to blow the breath out, and then we're going to let this get going, and what's happening in the room will probably trigger the laughter in everybody else. So we're going to blow the breath out. Here we go. And breathe. The way to stop it is to... Are you sure? So, this quick introduction may not have taken you far, but when you have to laugh or cry on cue, perhaps again and again, knowing what the body does to laugh or cry might be useful.
With a beard like a snore and then heavy rectangular cough.
Who discoursed on the habits of orchids and rabbits